Hi, Lizzie. Oh, we're in for such a treat, ladies. Lizzie's already done her dancing warm-up and to Beyonce's song Freedom. And we're gonna have some high, good vibing energy coming off this amazing interview today. So welcome, beautiful, for the Magnetic Mama Spotlight series. I know we've got so much juicy content to talk about. But please introduce yourself to us and share your mission on this planet with us all.
Hello, everybody, all you beautiful mamas out there. My name is Lizzie, and I'm the founder and creator of 2 Minute Moves. And what I do is I help mamas feel good. I help them get back and keep their sanity, their confidence, their vitality, their joy. And I do all this by inspiring and motivating you to get moving and to show you that exercise can actually be this amazing part of your life. It doesn't have to be this chore or this punishment or something that just kind of ends up in the bottom of your to-do list. Yeah. How possible it is to for it to contribute to your life, for it to bring joy to your life, and how good you feel when you do that.
Absolutely. You know, whenever I actually get up and do some yoga in the morning, I feel so amazing. Like my whole day is quite different. And we went hiking at the weekend. We just put Luna in like a little backpack and we go hiking and she loves it. She sleeps really well. And, you know, a 5K hike, I felt so good afterwards. And I think you just, like, it doesn't have to be hard. You know, it doesn't have to be like another thing that you have to do. But my favorite exercise is I love to dance. And I know, but I love having sex. That's like the best exercise. I'm like dancing and sex and yoga. Hello. And cycling. We love to go bike riding and walking. And I think, you know, for my son, he loves swimming. So it's like whatever you love that gets you moving, just do it.
Yeah. That's so a part of it, that finding what it is that you love. But that's easier for some people than others. You know, for me, I was a dancer, so that's what I come back to because I just love to dance. When I'm moving my body, I feel so connected to my body. But for others, it's a bit harder to find that thing. And that's why it's so good to kind of to start quite small and to do some little steps so you actually do start getting it into your life, and then you actually do, like you, start craving it because of the way it makes you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I it's like if I don't move, I feel like my body feels like stiff, and you know, when you get out of bed and you're all achy, you know, kind of like, oh, I feel like an old lady today. So it's like, you know, for me, I pretty much stretch every day, whether it's a few minutes or if I have longer. And we do, you know, stretching all over the place. And Luna now is so cute. She goes, "What's this?" And she'll put up her legs and she starts like planking.
Oh, gorgeous.
So she's like, "What's this?" And it's just the cutest thing because my beautiful man, Yako, is super fit, and he will set up, you know, the ropes and the whole fitness around the house, and the kids join in. You know, like they fully resonate with his exercise regime, and he's got very disciplined, you know, within the army in Finland. Like he's really amazingly disciplined with that. So I'm not like that. I'm much more like, I just feel like I need to move right now. So if I haven't gone out for a walk, I'll be like, right, I've been inside all day working. I need to go outside and, you know, connect with the sky and Mother Nature and go for a walk, pick up the kids, whatever it might be. And I think it's about being mindful and saying, I'm feeling in a slump. So instead of drinking some wine or, you know, doing something that doesn't serve me in the best way, it's going out there and finding something that makes your body feel alive.
Yes. And the tricky thing is that even though something like exercise and all those other things that make us feel so good do that, they're the best thing for us in those moments where we're feeling down. When we're feeling down, it can be the hardest thing to get yourself to do. Or if you're totally flat out or burnt out or feeling overwhelmed, and even though you know I should be doing this, it's just that kind of getting yourself to do it can be the real struggle, the real obstacle.
It's an interesting mindset because it's like you never regret doing it, but you regret not doing it.
Yes, absolutely. You know? Yeah.
So it's a funny mindset, right? It's like, I know that my body's going to love it and my mind's going to love it and I'm going to feel so much better. But if I don't do it, then I kind of just feel really crap.
So does that come down to, I wonder, how much we value ourselves? Because if our self-esteem is very low, and if we're not valuing ourselves, I mean, I thought when I became a mum, I thought you weren't supposed to do anything for yourself anymore. I thought it was supposed to be all about everything that you do for your kids, and that made me the perfect mother. So I wasn't valuing myself at all. So even though I might have known that was the thing that might have made me feel better, well, maybe I wasn't supposed to be doing that, because that made me not a good mother.
Yeah, and then you feel so guilty, and I know that you quite openly shared that you did struggle. You had a baby and a toddler, and you really struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts. And you've openly said, I wanted to throw my baby out the window. Now, I know how I actually felt that too. I have never experienced rage and anger that I felt when I had my baby and my baby was crying and I couldn't stop my baby crying. I've never actually experienced. I think once my brother was picked on by some older kids and they tried to get him to smoke a cigarette, and I was like fully angry then, like, how dare you do that to my beautiful little brother? But this was like a whole new level, right? And it's almost like we don't even know what that feels like until we have a child that we love so much and we can't soothe them or settle them, and it's like we can't, it was such an intense emotion. So I fully understand how that felt when I know you speak to women and you write about this, and it's really empowering because it shouldn't be kept silent. As women, we need to voice, this is how I feel. But then we go to the doctor and the doctor makes you fill out a form, and it's not really the most nurturing way to say, hey, I don't feel good, I'm fine. And I've interviewed mums who've had postnatal depression 3 times with all 3 of their kids, but it doesn't stop them having children, but they learn how to manage it. It's very, very real. And so how did you overcome that? How did you get yourself out of feeling like you really weren't coping and that you were feeling very depressed to being where you are today, which is publishing a book with a publisher? You've created this amazing brand and this incredible energy. So how did you get there?
I felt so ashamed at the way that I was feeling. So I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell my husband, my mother, my best friend, like no one. Like the shame in how I was feeling, that, I really felt like I should be so grateful for everything that I had. I had this beautiful baby, a healthy toddler, a husband, a roof over my head, my food. That was my thoughts. And I just kept telling myself to get over it. And because I wasn't coping, I felt like such a failure as well, which is why I think I kept that so much to myself. And I think because I just thought that I was failing, I thought I was the only one, because I didn't tell anybody. I just had this really fake smile on my face the whole time. And so I didn't tell anyone. So it was my little shameful secret. So when I was doing things like, on the floor with this, voice in my head going over and over saying, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself. When I was, holding my baby and thinking about, throwing her out the window, and doing things like, I remember having my toddler and picking her up and just shaking her and screaming at her that I couldn't do this anymore. And I didn't think, hey, perhaps this is not just you that this is happening to. Perhaps if you went and talked to someone and got some help, that they wouldn't tell you just to get over it, like I was telling myself, just get over it. And so it was when I finally went and saw my doctor, which is when I remember my husband saying to me, I'll never forget, he said, you falling apart means that the whole family is falling apart. And it was like I could feel everything kind of falling apart around me. The housework, the kids, they felt incredibly insecure. My husband, I felt myself isolating myself from my friends. And that's when I went, okay, I'm going to go and get some help, which was really hard for me because I come from this super stoic family where you don't go and get help. You don't go see a doctor. You don't take a Panadol. My grandfather was a dairy farmer and he'd chop his finger off when he was out farming and he just put it in his pocket and wouldn't come home. You don't complain, you carry on. And that's what makes you a grateful, strong person. And so I went and saw my doctor, and she said to me that I had postnatal depression, which I was completely and utterly shocked at. She gave me a prescription for antidepressants, and she also said to me, and I'm very, very grateful for her saying this to me, for taking the time to say to me, you know, when you get on the plane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before assisting others. That's what you have to do. It was like kind of her plea to me. And so that's when I went home and I put that prescription on my bedside table, and something inside me just said to me, find something else first. Find that oxygen mask that you can do every single day, that one thing. And that's when I decided that that one thing for me could be moving my body, because that's what I used to do. I was a dancer. That was my love, my joy. It's what I finished school and came down and was a professional dancer, and I just kind of shut myself, that part of myself, off to be this perfect, amazing earth mother that I wanted myself to be. That didn't include any kind of things that made me feel alive and like myself. And so that's when I decided to do a little something at my kitchen bench. And so the next day I went down, my kids were watching like an episode of Play School, and I went, right, here's my ballet bar, my kitchen bench. And it was the last thing I felt like doing, but I just said to myself, move. And so I started doing some pliés, the lovely leg bends at the kitchen bench, and some leg raises up to the side. And then I actually just put my hands on the bench and just started doing some push-ups on my bench. And what I felt in that moment was this little bubbling of hope, and this sense that I had done something for me. I had achieved something. Couldn't remember the last time that I'd actually felt that feeling of achievement, and that the hope was that here was something that actually could make me feel really good. And I only did it for a couple of minutes before one of my girls called out to me, but that was okay. Like, that was enough. And that was the beginning of that change of mindset, I suppose, for me, that it didn't matter if I didn't have an hour to walk out the door whenever I wanted and go do this amazing kickboxing class or something. It didn't matter that, I didn't have, 90 minutes to go off for this amazing walk by myself. Like, I could actually take this little small step, and in that small step, that's what led me to coming back the next day, doing my beautiful pliés at the kitchen bench, then the next day and the next day. And then it was just like this. And out I emerged from that very, very, very dark place of thinking there was no hope, thinking that the way out for me was I just needed out. I'm going to kill myself. So it was this massive, massive lesson of how important self-care is, but also that it doesn't matter how tiny that little step of small care is, that every single step counts and leads to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Such an amazing story. And I mean, I can resonate, just because when I was going through my divorce, which was a very dark time for me, my practice was yoga. And it was physical, like I'd go, I'd cry, I'd stretch, I'd release, but then it was the philosophy that got me through. It was the act of practicing self-compassion and breathing, and you don't have to go anywhere to do that. We breathe all the time. And so it was taking these moments in my day where, I would sit in stillness, or I would do some stretching. Like, it's a very similar story. And now that's something that I don't necessarily go to yoga classes anymore, because I've done my teacher training, so I can now go and just do that whenever I want. So I think the tiny little baby steps, it's so key, because it's the same with business. It's the same with anything where we kind of just need to help us get from A to B, and it's really tiny. It's like kids, learning to speak, learning to walk, learning to, evolve in this world. They don't just get up and walk, right? They take these tiny little steps. And I think we really forget that. Like, we see the end of the staircase, right? I'm like, I can't get there. I can't write a book. Like that is like the biggest self-development exercise. Who's going to read it? Who's going to care about me? You know, like it's so enormous, like to go, I'm going to write a book and there's so many steps. And I'd love to talk about that with you. But it's like, we don't have to see the whole staircase. We just need to take step one. Just write the first chapter. You know, like it's such a process. And I think it's such a great analogy for anything that we want to do in our lives. Finding joy is obviously a big part of happiness and contentment. But even if we want to achieve something big, it's just baby steps. You know, it's such a beautiful way to look at it. And yeah, and if it's bringing you joy and it's making you feel good, do it again. You know, do it again. Like, do it as often as you can. And so how did you get, like, I know you've gone through a publisher, which is phenomenal. Like, I self-published. So to go through a publisher is amazing. So how did you take this beautiful concept, 2-minute moves, and your amazing story, and how did you, I guess, turn this into a book that's going to be published at the end of the year, which is so exciting?
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I decided when I sat down and did a 5-year plan and thought about what I wanted to do in the world, what my vision was, and how I was actually going to get there. I realized that a book was such a key part of this spreading of my message, to be able to open up doors so that I could spread the message even further. So the first thing I did was decide I was going to write the book, and then I told every single person that I knew that I was going to write a book.
Yes, keep me accountable.
I announced it on social media. I was speaking at the IIN conference, and I told everyone there. And so I was like, okay, right now I have to write this book. So I just, got those amazing big pieces of butcher's paper, which I still have kept rolled up, and went, right, okay, what is this book? Who is this book for? What do I want to say? What are people that I know struggling with? What do I know that can help solve those struggles, or ease those struggles? So just did the big kind of thing, and then I went, oh my God, how am I going to write a book? So I started 2 years ago. So I did have both my girls at school, but I had a really thriving personal training business. And I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to fit this in. So I decided, right, my hardest to anything to get in the way of time was obviously before my children wake up. And I'm a morning person as well, though I was getting up at 5 a.m. And even though I am a morning person, some of those mornings were so tough because it was freezing. And so what I'd do is I'd go out. Because I thought if I'm inside, chances are the cat will meow, something will happen, the kids will wake up, and boom. So I went out and I put my phone, I strapped it on my arm, put my sneakers on, and walked or jogged into a voice memo, and I spoke that chapter that I decided I was going to write about. And some mornings, the start of the voice memo is, oh God, it's so cold, right, okay, right, like I have scars around my face, and I live near the beach, so there's like this sound of, the wind coming off the ocean and everything. But what every single morning, I did not miss a morning unless, something like I was really sick or something, because I knew if I missed one morning, I was so much more likely to then miss the next morning, and then I wasn't going to have a book. And so by the end of that year, I was like, oh, wow, I've actually got a book. I've got this manuscript. It's a bit clunky because, I didn't have this beautiful 4-week writer's retreat where I just sat down and wrote this amazing book. So it was a bit chunky, but I sort of fixed it up. And then I went, right, I'll self-publish this book. And I sent it to my mother-in-law, who's a writer. And the first person I sent it to, just to get her feedback, and I was so terrified. She emailed me back, and it took me 3 days to open her email. I was so scared that she was just going to tell me in a very nice way, oh, it's a nice little book, but, forget about it. And she said to me, why aren't you getting a publisher for this? Why don't you try and get a publisher? So I was like, wow, I hadn't sort of thought that was a possibility. So it gave me kind of this this little boost going, well, why not? And so I had a contact at the publishers. There's a really amazing up and coming publishing house in Melbourne, Affirm Press, and so I sent it to them. And it took ages. I didn't hear anything. I finally heard back, and they said, yeah, okay, we're interested in having a conversation with you. So in that pitch was the manuscript, lots of photos, my vision, how I was planning to get to my vision, lots of stuff, because I had like 1,000 likes on Facebook if I was lucky, probably. I I still don't have this huge profile. And so we got on the phone, and before I got on this phone call, I meditated for like 15 minutes and thought about as well what they were going to ask me in this call. Things like, I bet they're going to ask me, why you? Why should we publish your book? What's different about you? Who is this book for? All those questions that I'd already kind of asked myself, I suppose, but kind of put my like little marketing brain on and went, right, what are they going to be interested in? And I got on, and I just, because of that time that I'd spent in that centered place I got in, I was just able to nail that call. And then, so I did that call, and then went, okay, well, we want to see a bit more. So what I did is I put the entire book together as an ebook with all these photos that I'd already had and everything. So that took me a couple of weeks to do, and sent that to them, with a bit more of a pitch, what I'd said on the call in writing. And they're like, let's do it. And I was just like, yeah. And I walked up to school to get my kids, and they had been so a part of this process. I'd been telling them everything, and there'd be days where I was like, oh, I just can't do this book anymore. It's just doing my head in. And they'd be like, keep going, Mum, keep going, keep writing the book. And my husband was like that too. And so I went up to school, and I just saw them, and I went, I got a book deal like this. And we were just hugging, and it's a day that I'll never forget. There's something about, we spend a lot of our lives, I think, as business women, having to really prop ourselves up, don't we? Just because it's kind of us. I can do this. I've got this. Keep going. And then when someone comes along and says, yeah, we love what you're doing too. We're going to take this on board, and we're going to help you. It's just like, it just blew my mind, because I'd never had that before in this business of mine. Yeah,
it's amazing. Having support, having, even if you win awards along the way, like my book, Mother Realm, I mean, I was slightly different. I did self-publish, but I wrote it in 30 days. So I did 1,000 words a day for 30 days. And this was part of I was with a whole crew of people. I did the Key Person of Influence course. So I was with a lot of people who were writing as well. But there's really I think 20% actually do the challenge. And it's the ones that do the challenge that publish. Right? It was really, like you say, if I missed a day, it wouldn't have happened. And it's so true. And I'm getting up, and I'm working around my little boy at the time. I was a single mum, it's not like I had a whole lot of time, and I'm running my business, which was really new at that time as well. And I had 10 classes a week teaching yoga, and it was really intense, and I just didn't give up. And then because I had the manuscript, which was a bit of a mess, but then I was able to work with editors, and I paid for this whole process, but it was such an amazing learning curve. And it took me a year from the day I started to write, which was May, to then publish a year later on Mother's Day in May. So it was every day I worked on that book, like every day. And I told everyone as well, and I gave myself a deadline and had the big launch, and did all of this because it was such a achievement. It's so empowering. And I actually really want to write another one. I really, really feel called to write another book. I'd love to go down the publishing road, so we'll see how that flows. But I love so much of what you say, because, you just don't give up. Like my beautiful man he wears a t-shirt that says never give up, and I just love that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best, isn't it? Such a great message, because so many people start a book, like my beautiful dad. He's very academic, won a scholarship to Cambridge, so incredibly smart, has been writing a book for 10 years. In fact, I think he's now writing his third book. And I'm like, but Dad, you need to publish the first one. Like that whole mindset, I'm going to get a publisher. And I'm like, you might not, Dad. And you're almost, you're 70, you're 67 now. Like, time for you to maybe publish. But that's just so not how that generation worked.
Yeah.
And so, it's about the profile. And I keep trying to explain to him, like, you're a lecturer, Dad, you're a professor, but you don't have your profile, and it's a very interesting journey. And I do have other friends that have been published as well. And I think it's so wonderful that you have this team around you that really support you and lift you up. And I really believe that there's a book in everyone. You know, everyone has an amazing story.
Yeah, I totally agree too. It's an amazing thing about writing, to actually really make you hone your message and what it is you're about. But I feel like what I needed, what kept driving me forward, what kept me going and still kept me going, because the publishing world is very slow, is a very strong sense of why I needed to get this book out. Not just for my my work, not just for my vision of what I'm wanting to do, but very much for that person that I could help. You know, that me in their own version of, you know, sitting on the floor at rock bottom. And so that really, really kept driving me, because I really felt like this worked for me. It works for so many women that I see. To keep this to myself, it's too a wonderful a sting to not put this book out in the world.
Absolutely. And it will, honestly, like, you will get messages from people that you don't even know. And, you know, the book came at the right time. And it's just really helped them through a certain situation. I had women who didn't even have kids, but they'd gone through a divorce, you know, so they resonated with the story. And it's the most amazing thing. And I still now, like, I published a couple of years ago, but I, went to a birthday party at the weekend, and I was just randomly chatting to someone, and she was like, "Oh, I'd really like to buy a copy for my daughter." And I was like, "Oh, it's so nice," you know, like, so it's kind of like you just have something really beautiful that you can share. And when I meet someone and I want to partner with them, it's like the best business card you could ever give them, you know. It's like, here's my book, and they're kind of like, wow. And I think being an author is wonderful. And it's cute that you say how your kids are involved, because I'll say to Leo, "What does mummy do?" And he'll be like, "She writes books." And I'm like, "That's so cute. Mummy wrote a book." But maybe I'll write another one. But it's kind of cute, you know, how they kind of resonate with what you do.
And also, it's so good that, I mean, it's a really tangible thing for them to see and to grasp that fact of what it takes, what's perseverance it takes, that resilience that you have to have. You know, I've had a few, you know, things that have gone on with the book I've had to be really resilient about, you know, push back of when it's going to be released and those sort of things. And then, like you say, it is just this constant personal development. Every time I open up my laptop, and I can see myself reflected back. When I first was kind of, after I'd written it and I really, you know, honing into actually putting the book together, this voice in my head would say, "Oh dear, what are you doing writing a book? Like, what if no one buys this book?"
Oh, no one's going to read it.
No one's going to read it. And so then I started just every time I opened up and I saw myself back, I would just kind of give myself like a really positive mantra, like, you know what you are doing. You have so much to say. You know what you are doing. And maybe this book is going to be a huge hit. Have you thought about that? Voice in the head? Maybe like, you're wrong.
It's so true. But not only is it the voice in your head, it's also the voice in other people's heads who don't quite believe that you're going to do it. And it's like people really unintentionally kind of try and discourage you because they want to do something like that, but they don't, their fear comes out. So it's actually this very, like, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, that's really awesome." And they're like, "Whatever." And you publish it and people are just like, "Oh my God, you're an author." And I've had people say to me, "Did you actually write this?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And it's like, it's like people say they're going to do something, and when they actually do it, people are like, "Wow." You know, they celebrate with you. And I think that's really inspiring, because I believe everyone can write a book. It's not that difficult, as in you've got a voice and there are amazing people that can help you. I had 3 editors. My grammar is the worst, but that's okay. You know, people can help you structuring it and all this kind of stuff. But it really is the most amazing process to go through. And I know people go, they write one and then they just write 10, you know, it's kind of like, I'll just write another one. I'll just write a series now. And it's an amazing achievement. And I think not giving up is absolutely key. And knowing that your book will help and heal so many women. And I actually look back at mine now and go, wow, it's really not even relevant to my life. I mean, I've moved on so much. I've repartnered. I've got a baby. I'm now a business mentor and doing all this other stuff. But it's still so valid. I still really believe in the message of kids yoga and mindfulness. And, the content's still very relevant. And so this is another thing. It becomes kind of timeless because you're writing about, like, as we get busier and as we get more disconnected and as life gets harder, the message is even stronger. You've got to take time out, right? You've got to self-care. You've got to move. It's really an important message that becomes quite timeless. So it's interesting. So excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been so interesting that this book and the way it was written, like this little, I'm such an all or nothing person. I know I'm totally not alone in that, right? It's like, boom, give it to me now. I want the big stuff now. And then, so, that's when, that change of mindset with the small steps. And that's exactly what I've had to do with this book is that, I didn't write in 30 days. For me, this book was, an hour each day, a little bit, chip away. And so much of that was even just getting to what it is that I stand for. And a lot of the book that I wrote in that first year isn't even in the original book, but it's an amazing process. And I'm with you. Everyone should write a book, even if at the beginning not quite sure what your message is, even like what your one thing is, because I totally did not know that when I started, because I look back now, and that is the gift of having a bit of time from the start to now when it's about to be at deadline. Is going, okay, I actually had to, it was a process, a journey for me to actually find what this book is, and that's okay as well.
Yep. And the fact that you've got a whole team of, you've got a publishing house behind you, that's phenomenal. You've got these people helping you in so many ways. And then, of course, they'll really help you launch and, put it in beautiful bookstores everywhere. So it's going to be the most amazing experience for you. And I'm so happy that you came on today and you shared your beautiful message and your energy. And I just really can't wait to see you shine. Like it's the most amazing experience. Like your kids will be so proud of you. Like last night, we don't watch much TV, but I'm really addicted to this show called Married at First Sight. Like I really think it's fascinating, right? You would marry someone you don't know, and the relationship counseling. And I'm like, it's on at 7:30. So we just had to see it because it's almost at the end where they decide whether they're going to stay together. And I had Lael literally reading a beautiful book, Buddha at Bedtime, in one chair. I had Luna over there reading another book. And we just sat there for like half an hour and the kids read while we watched this program. And I was like, babe, seriously. And he was like, it's like Luna's not even 2. And Lael reads all the time. Like he is an absolute bookworm. And we've really instilled that in them. Like reading is beautiful. It's imagination. It's just that they really do love it. And I think it's such a gift for your kids to see, that it's, yes, we can read content online and, everyone's on their computer all the time, but the power of picking up a book, and absorbing yourself in that is just priceless, So thank you so much. And how can my beautiful mamas who are listening or watching, how can they come and connect with you?
Love to have you as a 2-minute mover.
Yeah.
2-minute mover. 2minutemoves.com is my website. That's with the number 2, but if you don't do the number 2, it'll still go there as well. So what I do for my 2-minute movers, and this is all free, it's my gift to you, is on Mondays I post a workout. They're often at your kitchen bench. Sometimes they are while maybe you're blending up a green smoothie or washing the dishes, that sort of thing. Or sometimes I'll be hanging out my washing and do like a 2-minute move out there, that type of thing. Fridays I have my wine bottle workout because that's just what you do on the Fridays, right? Yeah. So that's with 1 or 2 wine bottles, and this is just joy. This is kind of going, exercise can actually be a whole lot of fun. And my mission for those workouts, I mean, it seriously works your arms and your posture and makes you feel stronger. But my mission is actually to put a smile on your face when you do these moves. And I think I'm able to accomplish that. Like, they're quite fun. So that comes out on a Friday. So whatever works best for you, you can either just pop in your email on the website, or if you're more of a YouTuber subscriber, then do that at YouTube, and the channel is 2 Minute Moves, and that is my with the number 2, and that is my what do you call it on Instagram and Facebook? My
tribe, follower, handle. My
handle. That's my handle.
That's my handle, baby.
Yeah. That's my handle. So so you'll get these workouts from me, and also throughout the week, just a whole lot of inspiration to get moving. You might just get a little post from me going, hands on the kitchen bench, 10 push-ups, go. Yeah,
I love it. And I really think we need to move more. They say sitting is the new smoking.
Yes.
Pretty hardcore, so we do need to move more. And so
it does do amazing things for your the way you work as well, your productivity. I mean, I often stand up, I sort of prop up my laptop, but even when I'm sitting down, like when I stand up and just kind of move around a bit, do some heel raises, just kind of twist from side to side, it's like, vroom, my brain switches on again. And it does amazing things for your confidence, you know, the way that you stand, the muscles that you work. There's that amazing TED talk about the power stance, Amy Cuddy.
It so works.
Gives you that confidence, which gives you that self-esteem, even if you don't kind of believe it at the beginning.
Whenever I speak, whenever I speak, I fully do that. I do my power. I take my shoes off because connect to Mother Earth and feel her beautiful energy supporting you. I do my power stance. You know, and I really believe, I really believe in that, you know, standing up and sharing, and it's a great energy. And so I'm having to move a bit now because I'm sitting on the couch.
Exactly. Sorry, you're watching me move. And just for your mood as well. Like one of my most popular ones on my YouTube channel is my pissed off workout, and I do it if my kids are like driving me nuts, and I'll come up to my kitchen, I'll punch out to the side, and you can't see. I see if I can get my leg out there, kick out to the side, and it just. All that, those strong feelings, that anger you feel sometimes as a mother, it gives it somewhere to go rather than in your freezer eating a tub of ice cream or, you know, sculling a swig of vodka or something like that. Movement gives your emotions somewhere to go because it's movement. It moves through you. And the same can be said for that feeling of depression, overwhelm, and the lower feelings. When you do move, that can help open you up and just make you feel that little bit better. It's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely, I'm so with you on that, and I can get a bit lazy. So, but my partner actually is really, really. I find him very motivating, and it's totally sexy when he's like working out. I'm like, oh, you're sweaty now. But it's great to be, you know, when you're also, you know, with, you know, in an environment where movement is encouraged, you know, so by you moving, you know, your kids are going to like benefit from that as well. Like we are always up for going for a walk and kind of getting out.
Yes,
which I think
dancing's really good. We have a family dance so good for your kids. I started a dance class actually in my area. Dance Yourself Happy. So because I wanted to do something with my girls, I knew so many other mums who wanted to do something with their kids, and grandmas come, mums, little kids, bigger kids, and and we dance together, and you get an incredible feeling of connection to yourself, but also to those around you as well.
It's actually a really spiritual practice as well. So dancing is a massive part of yoga, tantra, being together, feeling spiritually connected, especially playing certain music. So it's a very powerful healing. We love a good dance off. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think my dance workouts, I reckon online are the ones that really resonate almost the most with people. I think there's something about it. They go, oh yeah, I can do that too. I can put on a piece of music and get moving and and actually just have that feeling of freedom and letting go. And it's actually, you know what, it's all going to be okay. Yeah,
I mean, music allows us to feel. You know, so when we've got that sense of connection and feeling, and then we move our body, like it's a very powerful combination. So thank you, beautiful Lizzie, for coming on and sharing your amazing story. I think every mother can resonate with that, whether they want to admit it or not. We've all had those feelings. And I just love turning adversity into opportunity. I love the fact that you're getting a book deal, and I can't wait to celebrate with you when that comes out. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Namaste.